And welcome to the S Rank Media Club, your experts on excellence making the world a less lonely place. I'm Colton Wallace, joined by my co hosts, Quinn Foster
Hey guys, how's it going?
and Kudrow.
Hello, everyone.
So, today on the show, we're going to discuss the direction of Stranger Things 4, the Black Adam trailer, and our weekly group media, Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark. I see now Quinn is telling me I did not unmute myself, so maybe you missed the first part of that. Not important. So,
No, it wasn't too bad. It clipped a little
It's like
bit,
the
but you're
first.
good.
Yeah, it's like the first couple words got cut
Yeah.
out, but
so Quinn, what's happening this past week?
So majority of my media this week included Stranger Things, which you mentioned, Indiana Jones, which we'll talk about later. I played a few party games over the last week or so. Human Fall Flat. It's like a co-op kind of physics game. Played a little bit of that with one of my friends. It's kind of like a puzzle solving game where you have control over the arms of your character and you have to independently move them and climb and solve puzzles. It's kind of fun.
Wait, so each person has control over individual limbs?
Sort of. So the direction you look is the direction your arms move in, and then you can grab things. So it's very physics based. It's kind of wonky. It's kind of like a fun like party game that you can play with. You can play, I think, probably 4 or more players. So
Interesting.
I would recommend it.
Gotcha.
Right now it's sitting at like a B+ for me right now on the ranking.
Gotcha.
And another kind of similar type game is called Just Die Already. You're an old person who gets kicked out of the retirement home for being too rowdy, and it's just this silly dumb game where you can get weapons and you collect tickets. It's like an open world sandbox type of thing. Also pretty fun to play with friends, so I'd definitely recommend it. That one's sitting at probably a C+ for me.
What's the purpose of that game?
You just there's like challenges and stuff that you can complete.
Okay.
Like you blow up people or you pee on people, stuff like that.
So
Yeah.
Let's Die Already. Are you trying to kill the character? Is that like the main goal? Or are you trying to not kill the character?
Well, you can reset yourself, so that's another big part of the game. That game is when you take damage, you'll lose your limbs or you'll lose your head. So like at one point, like you can get all the way down to just like your hips, like you're just a rolling ball of flesh essentially. So it's silly in that way, but I bought it when it was on sale because I thought it'd be fun to play. So
it sounds mildly fucked up.
Yeah, a little bit. It's but it kind of works. It works. It's because I don't know. It's because you're old and
Is that
you can taunt people and stuff like that.
Is this a new game? I haven't seen it before.
I think it came out last year. I want to say.
Just Die Already.
Yeah, it's like I said. It's like one of those silly party games that you can play. Another similar one to, like I said, Human Fall Flat. So if it's ever on sale, I'd recommend picking it up and ask your friends to pick it up too, and you can have some fun party stuff to do. Other than that, that's kind of the games I played. I played a lot of Valorant as well, which is kind of the game I usually play.
How is the Valorant going?
It's all right.
Yeah,
I'm not very good, but it's still fun to play with my friends.
That's okay.
So, one point I did want to touch on is a rumor or either confirmed that within Valorant, which is a first-person shooter, like tactical shooter where you plant a spike and defuse it and that sort of thing. They're supposed to add Counter-Strike with abilities, but they're supposed to add a mute button. So like one of the biggest issues with video games is toxicity, right? Or like people backseat gaming, especially multiplayer games. They'll come in and tell you what to do.
Sure. Well, you're the last person alive. They got killed within the first 10 seconds, and then they're just telling you how to play the rest of the round.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
So Riot, who develops the game, is supposed to come out with a function where you can essentially mute your whole team
Mhm.
with a hotkey. So like you just bind whatever key you want and you can mute your entire team, so then you can clutch in peace. You don't have to worry about people coming over the mic and telling you what to do, what you have left. So
I'm surprised they didn't already have that. Like in Riot's other game, League of Legends, you can mute all chat. Like that's an
Right.
option, and you can just do that. I'm really surprised that's not already a thing.
Right, but in League of Legends, people don't use the voice chat very often, do they?
Let me tell you, you can still be toxic.
Yeah, so but anyway, that's kind of a cool thing to look out for in Valorant. And then kind of my last story, at Dallas DreamHack, I just saw a story. I thought it was pretty funny, pretty weird. During the Fortnite tournament,
Mhm.
a player that wasn't doing so well. Actually, let me start over. Fortnite, I'm assuming everybody knows what Fortnite is. It's a battle royale game where you essentially load into a world against 99 other people, and last person wins, King of Hill type of thing. And there's a storm that kind of gets smaller to push all the players together. Anyway, they had a tournament for money, and this pro player, I guess you call him,
Mhm.
was not doing well. So he decided to essentially drop on the top player over and over again,
Okay.
essentially griefing him for no reason.
Not against the rules.
It's not against the rules, but it's what you call it, bad manners, right? A BM type of mood.
Or a good tactic. I don't know.
Well, he wasn't gaining anything from it. So
Well, he was
anyway,
looking down the top player.
well, yeah, but he wasn't trying to become the top player. He was just being a dick, right?
Yeah, but maybe Fortnite should design their game to not allow this to happen.
Maybe. Anyway, the person who was in first got pissed and went over and tried to fight him, like physically outside of the game.
That's amazing.
That was like the major headline of that esports tournament. So
I did not see that. He tried to fight him. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so I take it the top player lost then because he was being griefed by
I
somebody.
I didn't follow up on that. It wasn't that much of an interest. I just saw the fight story and I was like, oh, that's gotta
Like,
bring that up. So
griefing people is awful, but like griefing people in like a professional tournament setting is comical to me. Like I think it's funny.
right.
It's, you know, like you play a fighting game against somebody and they just use cheese tactics. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna do this one projectile move because you're not good enough to work around it. But when you
Right.
see somebody use cheese fighting tactics at a pro level tournament, it becomes comical because then it's like somebody at the highest level who can't get around some broken game design where somebody's just cheesing them with some random repeated tactic.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
Well,
was there any punches thrown? Do you know if there were punches thrown?
I don't know that. I mostly stuck to the headline. I didn't really think it warranted too much of my time. It was more
In
just
my
like, oh, that's
head,
funny.
Like in my head, Fortnite players are younger, so it's like in my head, it's like two 14-year-olds like trying to fight each other.
Yeah, it sounds about right. But yeah, so that's kind of my week. Actually, one more thing. The Netflix series, I had the chance to watch one episode of Love, Death, Robots. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it.
Yeah, was this
I've
from the
s-
new season or the old season?
I'm not sure. I was just in Discord and one of my friends like, here, like, have you watched this show? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, let me play this episode. And so it was the Beasties episode. I'm not sure what it's called, but it was kind of like futuristic dystopian, like kind of like a Fight Club, but with what seemed like genetically modified monsters.
Mhm.
So it was like this, I guess, Love, Death, Robots is like kind of short animated
Yeah, it's a
episode. It's kind of
short
cool. Yeah.
stories,
Yeah.
they're
So
all
it was
individual
really good.
stories. Yep, that's cool. I've watched the first like series, the first like collection, and then they just recently released another one. The first collection was interesting. Some of them weren't as good as the others, but overall, I thought it was a great collection, and it was very like definitely very violent and visceral, and a lot of them, and it like really tried to tell like a deep story very quickly and tried to so yeah, I agree, that's a good show. but I don't remember the first episode. I'm not sure if I saw that one or not, or if that's from the new season.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but anyway, someone else want to jump in
Kudrow.
with what they did this week?
How was your week, Kudrow?
Yeah, it kind of feels like my week was just probably binge watching a lot of TV. Because I think we're gonna talk a little bit more about this later, but I have watched all of Stranger Things at this point, all the newly released episodes.
Yeah, longer runtime on those.
What's that?
Longer runtime on the new episodes.
Yeah, they're almost every episode is almost a movie unto itself.
Yeah, I was curious, so I went back and looked, and in all the old seasons, I think there was like one episode in all of them that went over an hour, and then this new season, every single episode was over an hour.
Yeah, so it kind of made it a little bit of a marathon watching a lot of it. There were certain points in the, like, I was watching one episode, like I'd have to stop it in the middle of it after a scene, and then I'd end up coming back to it later.
Gotcha.
But so far I do think season 4 has been pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered. There are a couple things that may not be working for me, but overall it's definitely been pretty good.
Sure. Yeah, it's going to be one of our main discussion topics this week. So, what else were you on to this week?
Other than that, I have watched the first 3 episodes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney Plus. There are probably some questionable writing on that one so far, particularly in episode 3.
Okay.
So I don't know how many episodes Disney Plus is planning on doing with that. I am probably going to continue to watch the rest of it, but I'm starting to become a little bit concerned with how that show is ultimately going to end up.
Gotcha. Have you liked other Star Wars shows coming into this, like the recent ones, like the Mandalorian, and has there been? I feel like there's been another one.
Got the chat here. 6 episodes on Kenobi. Thank you.
So you're halfway through.
Yeah, I guess I'm halfway through. But yeah, I mean, I've seen The Mandalorian. I thought season 2 was probably a little bit better than season 1, but I can say overall I enjoyed the entirety of it. The Book of Boba Fett was much more. It honestly, in many ways, felt more like a Mandalorian season 2.5 than its own thing.
I gotcha.
So that one's a little bit lower, in my opinion. The Bad Batch wasn't bad. I didn't think that one was too bad at all, but yeah, it seems just like recently, like Star Wars media is kind of hit and miss.
Yeah, I've been like kind of burned on it, I feel like, since the sequel movies. Like, I honestly haven't watched anything else because those sequels really made me lose all interest. So I've watched all the sequels one time and I've watched the other movies, but that was kind of it. And I do want to watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi one because I like Obi-Wan Kenobi as a character. So I'll probably watch that one. And people have been telling me to watch The Mandalorian for like 2 years. So I should probably do that too, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of them, so I'm worse than Colton. I watched the sequels and I kind of cut myself off. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll get around to it, but sure. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's really worth my time right now, but maybe I'll catch up.
Hey, I mean, Star Wars fatigue, I get it, and particularly after the 7, 8, and 9. I'm sure you're not the only ones who have at least partially given up.
Yeah. So, Kudrow, you also saw Top Gun Maverick?
I did. I went out and watched that in theaters with a few other friends of mine. But honestly, Top Gun Maverick was actually, I was surprised. I went in with no expectations, but if I had expectations, they would have been surpassed.
Did they get in plane fights with any MiGs? What's the new enemy plane? Is there a new enemy central plane as the villain?
It's not. I don't know how much I don't know how much I can go into it without details. Like there are. What's that?
Is it a Russian aircraft?
No.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, like there are plane battles, but one of the biggest trials in the movie is like Maverick comes back to Top Gun to train these pilots to undertake this particularly difficult mission that does end up involving them, like, in some ways having airplane battles, but A lot of it also revolves around like this very like high speed plane maneuvering through like canyons and such, trying to deal with like high speed like high G's as they're flying, which is actually even foreshadowed pretty early on in the flight in the movie, which I thought was very well set up.
That's interesting. So that's like a thing. There's a great Radiolab podcast episode. I think it's Radiolab about a guy's experience flying. Um, it was a Raptor something, and it was a U.S. plane that had been like. It has a history of giving people all these issues where they black out flying it.
Hmm.
And so, if you've ever listened to Radiolab, you should look up the Radiolab episode about the pilot. Amazing episode. It goes into that same thing. But so, um, does it call back a lot to the original Top Gun? Like, does it? Do you feel like it? Because I've recently watched the original Top Gun. Does it follow kind of? Is it like a a sequel in a way, but it kind of follows the same story beats as the original? Does it have a lot of callback?
I mean, and I mean one of the characters that you deal with very early that definitely tells you it's a sequel is your as Maverick's relationship with Goose's son.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's quite a few callbacks to the original movie. Which I mean, and given the fact that what the original Top Gun dropped in 1985, I
86. I
think
think it was 86.
86, yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely doesn't surprise me. There's quite a lot of I think fan service and nods to the original movie.
Like, did they play volleyball?
Oh, no, well, they don't. They do play volleyball, I
Okay.
believe, and then they also
Whoa,
play like
spoilers.
beach football. Yep,
Quinn,
spoiler alert.
Quinn, have you seen the original Top Gun?
No, I need to see it. I know it's on Netflix, so I'm
I
like,
don't know if you
I
need
just need
to
to get
see
around to it.
I think you could
I'd
probably
like to
just
see
watch,
it.
you could probably just watch the new Top Gun. There's some I don't know, like it's like a bunch of flight or a bunch of pilots and they're all like their characters are like children, just like bickering and fighting over being the top flight person. And they all came up with childish names like Iceman and Merlin. And like Tom Cruise literally when he introduces himself in the first Top Gun movie, he's like, "Hi, I'm Maverick." That's how he introduces himself to new people is Maverick. That's literally his name.
Yeah, but I've heard that they do that in real life, though. That's like your call sign, right? That's like
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
what
exactly
people
what
call
it
you.
is.
Yeah, I
So
mean, yeah,
I don't know if I had Go
I
ahead.
think it'd be funny if they did it in real life. That might be kind of comical.
I think they do. I think they do the call signs. I don't know if they introduce themselves as their call sign, though. I doubt that they do
Yeah,
that. But
I'm torn between original Top Gun being like cheesy characters and cool characters because like as cheesy as they are, like it's kind of like you could. It's almost like an anime in the way the characters are so like, oh, I'm Iceman, and I'm like, oh, fuck you, Iceman.
it's funny.
Anyways, do you recommend? So you would recommend it as a decent movie, Kudrow?
Yeah, I think so. I certainly think it was worth seeing.
Gotcha.
That was like the top grossing film again this past weekend, I think. So it
Oh, it was
won
second
the
week.
box office the first weekend, and then it won the box office this weekend as well, I think. So it's doing pretty
Yeah, I know
well.
it's been doing really well.
Huh.
Not as good as Morbius, who tried to re-release. I think they didn't even crack $1 million with the re-release. So I saw that somewhere and it's like, serves them right.
I
Yeah,
saw somebody,
Apparently,
some-
it is not Morbin time.
some meme online where people were angry because they had a side by side where it showed the Rotten Tomato score of Morbius and it was I think like 70 and then it showed the Attack of the Clones scoring of 68.
It's funny.
Yeah, so my week I fixed my graphics card with a comb. So I got a new graphics card a while back, and it's a big, heavy graphics card. It's a 3080 Ti, and I'd been having issues the last like couple months, and I had a few issues over the last 6 months, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I was getting blue screens, and I was trying to figure out what it was. I had eventually went through and tested most things. I had narrowed it down to there was an issue with my motherboard or my graphics card. So, and I was kind of looking at the computer, and I kind of like jiggled around the graphics card to like set it back into place, and it started up. And I was like, that's weird. So eventually, I turned my computer on its side, and then the metal frame that the graphics card sits on, I took like a comb, and it's like a with a pointed end, like with a thin pointed end, and I stuffed it under the metal frame, and so it like would hold the graphics card straight up in place. So my computer now is sitting on its side, and I have a broken half of a comb stuffed down in under the frame to hold it up straight, and I haven't had issues since then. So graphics card sag, it'll get you.
Graphics cards don't usually. I mean, I have a smaller, I think just a 2-fan,
They
or
don't
not
usually
even a
what?
fan. They don't usually sag, do they? I mean,
No.
sorry, they don't usually come with like screw brackets or anything like that, do they?
I don't think so. It came with a thing, but it didn't look like it fit in what my setup was. So I don't know how, because I looked when I was looking up stuff online, I came across that, but I also didn't. It didn't seem like that would fit in my case. So
Mhm.
as of right now, it's just on its side with that comb jammed in, and it works. Wonderfully.
How big's your case? Is it a smaller case,
Oh, it's a
or is it
decent
a standard
size.
size?
I think it's standard. It's
Okay.
ATX.
You said you poked around online. Did it seem like a lot of people were having that same issue, or no?
There was enough people that had talked about it. It didn't seem like a huge a ton of people had this issue, but there were some people who had it, and they definitely had mentioned like the brackets and figuring out how to get that bracket installed in there.
Right.
So I think my solution eventually is going to be to get a better case, because my case it's not bad, but it wasn't like a super nice case. And I think some of the better ones might have better bracket stuff to kind of hold that
Right.
graphics card in place. But yeah, so that was an interesting adventure. I spent like 4 hours messing around with it until I figured out it was literally just the graphics card sagging. So also on Netflix, I watched The Bubble, which came out in 2022. Has a bunch of actors in it, like not Jordan Peele, but the other guy on Key and Peele, Michael Keegan.
Michael
he's in
Keegan.
there. That movie, it's like a spoof of movie creation, but they're doing it inside a bubble, and it's I just kind of watched it. I'm like, yeah, we'll give it a try. And I think it's by Judd Apatow, the director, and it turned out to be actually fucking hilarious. Um, just it's like you get the producers and the people running the show, and they're like, yeah, these people hate you, and they're talking about the actors, and they set it up to be like standoffish between them and the actors. And then the actors are all they all have their own caricature of like they're fucked up in their own weird actor way. Like the stereotypes of how an actor is, they all kind of fit a different one. And then you get like they have the one like, oh, she's big on TikTok. And then none of the other actors know who she is, but she's some TikTok famous person. And then they start editing the movie later on. And like, there's a scene where the girl, she finds a dinosaur and like becomes a friend with it, because the movie that they're doing, the fake movie, it's called Cliff Beast, and this is Cliff Beast 6. So it like gets further into the spoof of like kind of like Tropic Thunder, where they're doing the movie and they're just I can't remember the movie name that Ben Stiller's doing in Tropic Thunder. That's another great spoof movie. But anyways, she's talking to a dinosaur, and she teaches the dinosaur a TikTok dance, and then the whole thing just breaks out into the whole cast and the dinosaurs doing a TikTok dance together. It's like a comedy of continual failures of this movie production. And then it'll just go off on these weird tangents and just kind of follow them fully. Kind of the way, just like it's like that kind of comedy that like follows these awkward tangents out fully.
Right.
And I really enjoy those. It was really surprising. I almost didn't watch it. Like it was like barely. I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a chance.
Right.
Yeah. The Bubble on Netflix, worth your time. I would give it a B.
Is it filmed in like a documentary like style where
not
or
so
is it
much.
like professionally filmed?
Yeah, it's
like
not. It's
as
not
like a set?
It's not like a documentary
Okay.
thing or anything like that. Like it's kind of filmed like a movie. There is a guy that walks around filming them like he's doing a documentary on a movie,
Okay.
and they're just assholes to him the entire time. Like, and he asks the most offensive questions. But yeah,
I'll
that's
have to check it
that's a-
out.
yeah, it's a good movie, surprisingly.
I watched the trailer for it, I know, and
Yeah.
it seemed very interesting. It was the trailer was centered more around the woman that had to quarantine for like 2 weeks, and she was like going insane or whatever because someone got COVID.
Yeah, she's like she's one of the actors. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know her name, but yes. Yeah. Other thing I did this week was, so after last week, Kudra had really talked up Hollow Knight, and I had thought about trying that game before, so I started in on Hollow Knight, and it's very cute. Like, it's a super cute game. I love all the little bugs you fight and the characters. And you just use the fact that you have a nail that you're swinging at people. That's your weapon, just an old nail. Um, the dialogue from the characters is interesting too. Like, it's kind of like this weird bug world from what I gather, and there's something fucked up going on, but I don't exactly know what. The controls are very tight, and like when you jump in that game, it kind of gives you a little bit of float, almost to like you can kind of the way you fight enemies. I feel like there's like this float given to your jump that kind of allows you to like work your dodges with your jump, and you can like jump slightly further by holding the button longer. It seems like,
Hmm.
and that's like that movement I think is what really makes the game. Um, I've tried to get into Ori and the Blind Forest before, and I've played a bit of that. And I don't know about Ori and the Blind Forest in terms of late game, but I played that for a few hours, and it just doesn't. Something about the movement in this game feels really good. So I like that a lot. My first impressions of the game are that I do want to keep playing it. There are some annoyances with that I find in most Metroidvania style games I play, but I have to, do the going back to previous areas, and I'm getting lost. I'm like, oh, there's one fucking thing in here I gotta find to move through. But overall, I like it, so I'm gonna keep playing it. And we were talking about it, and we're actually going to make this one of our group media experiences. So we're all gonna play Hollow Knight over the next, I think, 3 weeks. We're gonna give ourselves, and then we're gonna come and do an in-depth discussion about Hollow Knight. So, there's some things that are annoying me about it now, but I am interested enough to kind of play through a lot more of the game. So that'll be something we'll do in a few weeks. But Hollow Knight, right now, I'm super interested to keep playing it, and it's a very it's very tight as a platforming game. So if you want to play along with us, we're going to be playing that over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and it's on PC Game Pass
Yeah, it's on
for
Game
free.
Pass. Yep, and then I think it's pretty much everywhere else too, right?
Yeah,
you
it's
can
on all
buy it for like
consoles.
$15 or something like that, right? I
feel
think
like that's
15 or $20.
I feel like that'd be a great Switch game.
It is on Switch, I believe.
Yeah, no, I'd play it on Switch, but my wife has control over my Switch. So anyways, we can move into our kind of main discussion topics of the week. So first thing we wanted to talk about was Stranger Things season 4. And I don't think we're going to spoil too much here directly. We're just going to kind of talk about the direction of Stranger Things season 4, because for me, I've watched, the first 3 seasons, and I've watched 4, and I've really enjoyed 4. And it's made me question how I felt about 2 and 3. I know I liked 1, and I remember feeling like I didn't like 2 as much. And then I remember being irritated watching 3, kind of like it was like wasting my time and just like dragging shit out. And then the new season, the episodes are even longer, but I don't feel like that at all. I've liked all of it a lot. To me, this has been kind of the best season for me. Yeah. Should we give an overview of the plot line? I guess of the
that's what I was just trying to say, is like kind of just a broad kind of overall
Yeah, go ahead.
idea of what the show is. It's like a sci-fi thriller, horror, even maybe at sometimes. Show that follows a bunch of tweens that turn into teenagers as the series continues. Anyway, in the 70s, right? Or is it the 80s?
80s. Yep.
80s. Sorry. It's heavily D&D. And that's kind of the characters draw a lot of parallels to D&D when they're making their way through the plot, and essentially there's a underworld or a parallel dimension that kind of sits below the city of Hawkins, and it just kind of follows that entire situation, and kind of they go between the two worlds sort of thing, and there's different monsters and different problems and stuff like that. So
Right, the parallel dimension basically, which I think the series starts in 1983 is like season 1, and then the current season 4, I believe they're 1986, 1987, something like that. I think each season's supposed to be a year, so it's supposed to be 87.
that sounds about right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, definitely Stranger Things season 1 if you haven't seen that, for sure. And I would say watch the other one so you can watch season 4. But I'm a big fan of the season 4 direction. Have you guys enjoyed season 4, or do you have any like issues with it? Because to me, like when I've watched season 4 and I don't have any issues. Like I'm like, this is what I wanted out of this after season 1. Like I feel like I like it a lot.
You can go ahead, Kudrow.
I mean, overall, I can say I've been satisfied with season 4. I think there are, I mean, maybe it's just the runtime, but I feel like there are some things that maybe get dragged out, or just
Yeah.
or maybe just like one or two plot lines here and there that have just kind of been like, this is either going a little too long or. But overall, though, I would definitely say I enjoy it. The villain of season 4, I think, is shaping up to be interesting.
Mhm.
I am curious how it's going to tie into everything that was set up in 1, 2, and 3, because I feel like that hasn't been completely explored yet.
Do you think it has to? I mean, I guess some of it would have to like kind of resolve some of that, but I feel like the seasons are somewhat self-contained, their own stories.
Well, I don't know about, I mean, kind of, because
Yeah.
2 and 3 were both heavily focused on the Mind Flayer. And, the Mind Flayer kind of failed in its objective in part 2. And then it seemed like in part 3, it was just very focused on revenge because of how it was thwarted in season 2.
Yeah.
But then, but yeah, what's interesting is that I find like, the season 3, the Mind Flayer is definitely still around, or at least he should be. But season 4 hasn't really utilized him yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could. I guess to me, like they could come back and do that stuff. Um, I guess that could be a dig against it in the end if they didn't. But I also feel like it's been really good so far. Like just looking at it as season 4 by itself, I feel like it's been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been bothered by the run times. I've been okay with it. Like I felt really good about the scenes and stuff, and I thought it's had a very cool visual feel to it too. I thought, I've liked it. I like. It seems like they've took more kind of chances with the music this season and changed it a little more. I feel like 1, 2, and 3 were more similar musically, and this one's kind of diverted a little further away, and I've liked that a lot.
Yeah, I think most seasons it's kind of they split the plot up, right? There's different groups of people and they're all doing different things, which is pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
And I think season 4, with the distance geographically between different groups of people, really adds to like the overall feeling of concern for the characters, right, and concern for the plot and all of that. And I think that really helps, and it's kind of refreshing that it's not back in the same place that first 3 seasons were the entire time.
Yeah.
So I think that really helps.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that really helps with keeping the audience engaged and really building something new. And I can't really recall 2 and 3 that well. I remember 1 pretty well, and then I think I remember the end of 3 because that one was pretty big at the end, right? It was a lot of stuff going on. So, but overall, I think season 4 has been really good. I've been surprised multiple times when
Yeah.
something has changed or it goes a different direction than I thought it was going to, which is really engaging. So
would you guys put this would you put this at the top? Would you put, where would you put season 4? Like, I would put season 4 as my favorite one so far. Did you like 1 better?
I think I like 1 better at this point. Maybe it could change. I am a sucker for like a continued plot line across all the different seasons, so that might overpower it. But
Okay. Yeah.
because I remember after finishing season 1 when they do like the lingering plot line, and you're like, oh, like how is this going to get resolved? And then
Sure.
that kind of continues across the whole series, which I really enjoy. But
Yeah.
I can see 4 making its way above season 1. But
So
what about you, Kudrow?
I don't know. I'm still having watched all the episodes that I have. Like I've enjoyed a lot about season 4, particularly the end of the episodes that were really released. I won't get into spoilers, but there was a very interesting twist that I thought was very well built up, and that I think that would probably at the very least put it above season 3 for me. I think right now, if I had to rank them, I might go 1, 2, 4, then 3. But
you put 2 above 4?
I did enjoy 2. I feel like I might be a little strange when I say or unpopular opinion, but I enjoyed 2.
I don't remember. Like, this season 4 has made me want to go back and watch the old seasons, because I had been kind of on the downtrend on it, but season 4, I'm like, I love season 4, and it kind of makes me want to watch the first ones again to be like, what did I really not like season 3, or was I just, I don't know, fucked up in the head at that time? Like, I think I need to watch those again to kind of see.
I think season 1 and season 2 are really kind of a package deal now that I'm thinking about it more, because kind of the main plot of the series at that point was resolved after season 2, right? And then they introduced kind of more
right
kind of backstory that kind of you could follow. But I think my guess is I'm not like a show writer or anything like that. I don't know how you usually write shows, but I'm assuming
pretend you are. It's okay.
Well, I'm just assuming like season 1, like they kind of threw it out there, like they're not sure what kind of audience they're gonna get, that sort of thing. So like it's you give your all, but you're also a little cautious at what different ideas you're trying and all that. So maybe you don't go as ambitious on the first season, and that's kind of what led to the second season as maybe being a little more forgetful for me. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, I wonder, like, season 3 had a lot of this stuff with like the Russians, right? And I remember not liking that stuff as much, but I've loved the Russian stuff in season 4. So now I'm questioning, once I see the like Russians in season 4, do I go back to season 3 and then like do I like it more because I understand where it's going? That's kind of what I'm wondering. But
that's a good point.
I don't know. I really think I need to kind of check out those seasons again and take a second look. But
I've been thinking about doing that too.
Maybe we all do it.
Yeah. And then I think maybe we'll have a spoiler chat the day before the new, because Stranger Things season 4 part 2 or volume 2 is coming out July 1st. So maybe on Thursday, June 30th, maybe we'll have like a spoiler chat kind of going through the stuff in that season specifically. But yeah, we won't spoil anything here though. So
sounds like a plan.
Next on our list of discussion topics, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial and Twitch streamers. So what are Twitch streamers doing? Are they like having
well, I guess a little context.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, Amber Heard trial, defamation trial. They were suing each other both at the same time for defamation. I believe the verdict came out last Friday.
Yeah.
Jury. And Amber Heard was found guilty of majority of what Johnny Depp was going after. And then Johnny was also guilty for a little bit as well. So Johnny owed Amber Heard a little bit of money, not a little bit, I think $1 million, and then Amber Heard ended up owing Johnny Depp, I think, around $10 million. But I guess I saw an article about this reporter was looking at, I think it was PC Gamer, was looking at kind of the media coverage of the trial, and how a lot of people who probably wouldn't normally watch a defamation trial are watching defamation trial. That's probably due to, the celebrities in it, but also how Twitch streamers were essentially holding watch parties, and that was kind of contributing to the overall coverage of it. So this reporter was kind of upset that some Twitch streamers were giving their opinions that they disagreed with, and then the chat was being probably too troll. They didn't specifically say troll, but if you know Twitch chats, especially for major streamers, it's essentially just toxicity and trolling, and that's what you get for a Twitch chat. And I'm not sure why this reporter thought that would be anything different when you're switching to a trial, but I just thought it was interesting. She was kind of demonizing these Twitch streamers for essentially watching the stream and letting their chat have free reign over what was going on and giving their opinions and doing who knows what. So I just thought it was kind of interesting, because I don't think there's really been anything similar that's happened, especially with Twitch and streaming platforms. So
I don't think there's any trials recently, but the interest in it really surprised me. Like I saw the verdict, but that was kind of it. I didn't watch anything else on it, but it's been amazingly popular for a month?
Yeah, I think as soon as it started, a lot of people were jumping on and watching. And I know there's lots of law YouTubers and streamers, and who essentially they just stream and talk about different cases and precedents and stuff like that. And so that was a big thing for them as well, because a lot of people probably don't understand what's going on. I know I don't understand what's going on all the time in a trial. So I think if you have a lawyer who's kind of streaming it and giving their input, it can be pretty valuable.
Shout out to the Legal Eagle.
Right.
I kind of felt, I didn't feel like I cared though. Like it got so popular and I just could not care. I don't know, if somebody's getting abused, yeah, that's bad, but like I don't care about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I don't care about what this whole trial is. I can't. I don't know. It's so popular, and I just I've had zero interest in it the whole time.
I think that's fair. I guess my only interest in it was due to kind of the defamation aspect, because I know defamation is usually very hard to prove, or to get a conviction on. So
they did it they do it in the state of Virginia, was it? And that's the popular thing, is to do it in the state of Virginia because of the way the laws are set up.
Gotcha.
And and there was a way that somebody had to have some sort of entity in that. I think it was like the Washington Post.
Yep, it was the Washington Post. Yeah.
So they have some business presence in the state of Virginia. So then the countersuit, or one of the suits, was done in Virginia for that reason. But these suits, I guess, all happen in Virginia. That's the thing I was looking at on it. Anyways, that's all for celebrity news this week.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that, and I guess we'll find out if anything like that ever happens again. I guess it'll probably be all over the place.
This next one could be considered celebrity news. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in a new movie, Black Adam. The trailer just came out yesterday. I saw the trailer yesterday, I think. I had never heard of Black Adam before I saw this trailer. He looks cool, but I also don't know anything about him. Are you guys familiar with Black Adam at all?
You can go ahead, Kudrow.
I was about to say, very, very vaguely. The only real reason I know his name is just because I have some friends who are much, much bigger in the comic books.
Is he like a well-known comic book character?
I believe so. If I remember correctly, he usually stands as an antagonist to Shazam.
No, okay.
Oh, I believe had his own movie a couple years ago. But other than that, though, I can't really say I know too much about him. I mean, based on the trailer, it looks like maybe they're going for maybe a little bit more of an anti-hero kind of deal for him. But I mean, that's based off very limited footage.
The trailer looked pretty cool, I guess. As somebody who's kind of out of superhero movies currently, I'll watch a few here and there, but I'm not super into them. Um, I would say the trailer actually looked okay. Some of the stuff in it, I was like, okay, yeah, that looks all right. And a lot of the superhero movie trailers I see, I'm like, okay, I don't need to see Avengers fucking 7 right now. But no, I looked at the trailer and stylistically, I don't hate it. I would be interested in seeing another trailer and maybe watching it. But Quinn, what do you think about it?
Even if it's DC, you're still open to giving it a try. I guess you're indifferent because you hate all superhero movies, but
I wouldn't say I hate them. There's some of them I like.
I know.
So, yeah,
I was
DC.
just
I mean, I would give it a chance.
I was just gonna say, I think it seems like he's essentially like Kudrow was saying, anti-hero who has literally unlimited power. So I think I'm interested to see what they do with him because I think it's going to be a lot of character development rather than like
Right.
focusing on the action because
Yeah.
he can pretty much do whatever he wants. I mean, if you haven't seen the trailer at the end, he literally catches a missile.
Right.
So it's like he's invincible, like he's got super strength, like he can fly, like he can do it all. So like what, I mean, I guess that's kind of like Superman, but
Without the baggage.
right. So I mean, he's introduced as kind of what he was a slave, and then he was killed, and then he was reborn as a god. I think that's kind of like how the intro to the trailer goes. So it seems like he's got a lot of either anger or frustration built up from the way he died initially. So it seems like he's going to be kind of like a loner anti-hero, and I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Right.
I'm interested though.
We'll have to see more. Speaking of The Rock, so Summer Games Fest started today, and I don't know if you guys got to watch any of that, but there was
I saw that
long like video where The Rock's like holding a camera up to his face. It had to be like 2 minutes long, and then in the middle of the video, he goes on about his energy drink. He's like, "Try new Koa Energy." So I would like to try some Koa Energy. I'm gonna try and find that. I don't. It was. Oh, I don't know. He's like in his gym. He's like, "Hey, I'm here working out, but I stopped to talk to you at the Games Fest." And then they talked about Adam.
It was. I wasn't sure where it was going, honestly, in the beginning. I thought he was going to be in some video game, and then he just talking about his gym, and then he's like talking about all of his his nicknames, and you're like, okay, where are you going with this? Where are you going? And then he pulls up the energy drink. I'm like, okay,
yeah. He had a lot of time to just plug all his shit, and then he's also Black Adam.
I think it was a pre-recorded. I think it was for sure pre-recorded. Yeah. So I think, what are you going to do? Not play The Rock's whole video?
Right.
Probably not a good idea. Everybody loves The Rock.
Yeah. So other highlights from Key 3, as we're calling it. They did the new Firaxis game. So Firaxis has been working on a Marvel game for a while now, and today was the first time they've shown anything in a long time. I don't know if they showed anything before. They didn't show any actual gameplay today, which made me a little sad because I think that game's supposed to come out this year. But Firaxis they're the people who made the XCOM games. So it's like, in my opinion, the best turn-based, grid-based strategy game. But yeah, it's like, it's got some weird demon lady that comes out with green fire, and she like turns Venom and the Hulk into like demon characters, and those are the enemies. but I'm really interested to see how they work those superhero abilities into a grid-based tactics system. So I'm interested because I love Firaxis games. I don't have any problem with them being Marvel superheroes. That's cool. That's fine with me. That sounds like fun. But I am interested to see like how the gameplay actually works with their superhero abilities because you almost have to make like in XCOM you have characters with different guns and equipment. So in this game you have to somehow take those superhero abilities and make them work in a grid-based combat system, which sounds amazing, but it seems like that'd be hard to do. So I'm super interested in that. I didn't see anything else that jumped out at me from the Summer Games Fest announcements. Had you guys looked at anything? Anything from there you saw? It was a lot of stuff that was already announced.
Yeah, I didn't really see. I kind of had it playing up in the background, just listening to see if anything caught my interest, and I didn't
Yeah.
really see anything. I think the one that caught my attention was Goat Simulator 3. Never played Goat Simulator, but
That video was hilarious.
I saw the video and I was like, oh, that's kind of fun.
So they skipped 2? Is that?
No, they had 2, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But from my understanding, it's essentially you play as a goat and you wreak havoc.
Yeah.
It's like a physics-based game, and you get weapons and you essentially kill people and break things as a goat, which is obviously a popular game if they've made 3 of them. So
Right. All right. Well, that does it for the Summer Games Fest today. Next, we got a iOS 16 update, Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference. So they had a lot of updates there. One interesting one. So they noted in that thing that the Mac is getting No Man's Sky and Resident Evil Village this year. Which I don't know if they've done gaming segments in their past years WWDCs, but is this like their step to try and get the new M2 chips and M1 chips, their new architecture? Are they going to try and put games on those? That'd be interesting.
it's what it sounds like.
Hmm.
I didn't look too much into that aspect. I kind of scrolled through the iOS 16 updates just to kind of see what was coming down the pike. But
yeah, I'd be interested to see if they're trying to do more stuff with gaming now, because that was really interesting. They really they had a segment for gaming, and they had a segment where they talked about, Resident Evil and their Metal 3 effects where they can increase graphical fidelity with less processing power, I believe is what they're trying to say. Yeah, so that's interesting. Quinn, did you see the what are they calling it? Pass keys? Apple's new password thing?
Yeah, my dad sent me an article, I think, about it.
That looks awesome.
Essentially,
that was the most exciting thing to me in it was the password.
Yeah, you're okay with Apple having your facial data stored?
They already do, so.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I think it'll cut down on having too many passwords, right? Essentially, Apple stores your bio ID, and then you don't need to create a password for each individual type of login.
Right. Well, and it was interesting because it was saying you can come up to another device, and then it's going to be set up in a way that you can then use your phone to somehow act because if I could do that, that'd be amazing.
Right. I think I think companies already kind of do that. I don't know, like if you go to set up a streaming app on your TV or something like that, you can a lot of times can
go from your
do a one-click login with your phone. You're already logged in your phone. You can hook it up.
It would be cool if there's a good system I could use for most passwords that kind of follow that. So the passkeys thing was the most interesting to me. So probably when that comes out in the fall, I'm going to be trying that out fully.
Yeah,
I'm really interested in that.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Did they mention a beta at all? I know I've done a beta iOS before, but
I'm not gonna. No, they did. I think
it can be dangerous.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'm gonna wait till they give me the official one, and I'll just get it, and it'll be great. But yeah, I'm excited to try out the passkeys.
I think the other top feature that is coming was you're able to either I think both unsend messages and edit messages, iMessages, I should say.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So that'll be interesting. I know Apple still uses SMS for iMessage, I believe, or they use an outdated, I think,
Oh, gotcha.
way of sending messages. I know Android uses the most up to date, secure
Wait, I thought Android
way.
sent SMS messages.
No, the reason that, at least from what I've heard, the reason that you have to send SMS for Android is because Apple doesn't support the newest message type
I got
that Androids use.
Yeah.
So it's essentially Apple being
Oh my god.
annoying as they usually do, but
It's such a messed up system. I wish they could figure that out and have a fucking
right.
clear like
I
security
think
for
that's
everyone.
a lot of Apple folks
Yeah.
believe that Apple
Right.
is like the superior and like iMessage is the best, when in reality they found out that Android has the upper hand in that department.
So before it was iMessage was all encrypted and everybody else was using SMS, correct? But now now there is like standardized encrypted that everyone uses, but Apple still uses iMessage and they're just being pricks about it now.
That's my understanding of it. I don't
gotcha.
know if
Yeah.
I'm behind or
Yeah.
if I was fed false information, but that's how I understand it. So
Yeah, right. Huh.
we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yep. Well, just don't send text messages.
Right.
They're not safe. So just always use. Don't use email. That's not safe either. Talk in person. That's what you got to do. Get off the internet. It's not safe here.
Smoke signals.
All right. So other gaming topics we have for today. They had a Sonic Central event, which I saw. I'm like, Sonic Central about to go live, so I had to tune into that. I guess because the Sonic movie has been really popular, they need to make like 20 other Sonic things. I
mean, that's the only way forward, right?
I guess so. I watched the Sonic Central event, and I don't care about any of it. It's just like, it feels like a bunch of just like underdeveloped things, or like just real low bar. Like, what kind of Sonic shit can we throw out there?
Well, isn't that what you would do though if you were at Sega? You see, you're making these movies are making so much money, and you see this as an opportunity to cash in.
No, I would pivot and make Phantasy Star Online. That's what I would do.
Well, yeah, but you're not the demographic they're going for, right?
Correct.
They're bringing all this new younger audience, right? That have never
Right.
played the old Sonic original games.
But like, if I was 12, would I want that? Or there's a lot of good games out there. Like, I don't know if I was 12 if I would be fleeced by this Sonic nonsense.
Probably not.
Even if I liked the movie, I don't know if I'd be like, yeah, I want to play your shitty Sonic mobile game or whatever the fuck. I don't.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a lot of Sonic bullshit coming out, and none of it looks to be any good. Also, since I watched a few Sonic things last week, my YouTube algorithm has been infected with Sonic. So it's feeding me all kinds of Sonic videos. And let me tell you, the people, big Sonic fans out there, they're really upset. They are really upset about just, and not like now. They were upset years ago, because some of the videos I've picked up are like a couple years old, and like, oh my god, they're like, yeah, I don't think the critics really understand Sonic. We have to take their opinions, but they're not really fair to Sonic. So like, wow, that is a community. They are really upset that Sonic doesn't get more respect.
They sound like a bunch of angsty teens.
I don't know, but I just keep watching the Sonic videos. I'm just like, well, I gotta know why Shadow the Hedgehog was a failure of a game, and then I watch this hour-long video of why Sonic the Hedgehog or Shadow the Hedgehog game was a failure, and I agree. I'm like, yeah, that game sucks. And then, but yeah, the Sonic fans there's a strong cult following there, and that's a YouTube place that I don't know. Like, I was like mad that it was there, but I keep watching the Sonic videos, so it's partially my fault at this point that I keep getting more Sonic videos. Yeah.
I guess we'll have to follow the success of Sonic and see if it goes up or if it goes down.
I'm gonna start
Yeah.
playing them. Let's
You're gonna
see.
contribute.
Yeah, probably.
All right. I guess we'll find out. We'll keep you guys updated with what's going on in the Sonic universe. I don't know. Do we want to talk about Sonic Origins? That's like the remastered version of the original Sonic, correct?
Sonic.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the things in the Sonic Central, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
new levels. No, not new levels. New something.
You can play as Knuckles, right?
And Tails.
And Tails, yeah. Yeah.
Great.
I think I played the original Sonic, or maybe not the original, but whatever Sonic was on the Game Boy Advance, I played it. And as a little kid, I really didn't like it. I thought it was fun. Like I'd play it for probably like 10 minutes, and then I'd be playing. I'm like, why am I doing this? This isn't fun.
That's
So then I'd play something else.
the proper response to playing a Sonic game, unless it's Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
This
Right.
kind of hurts me because I have I had the original Sega Genesis. I spent a lot of time with the original Sonic games, 1, 2, and 3 particular. I remember I have very fond memories of them. So see, hearing this, like, I understand the Sonic hate over the recent games, but the old ones, they still have a special place in my my gaming history.
I had a Genesis at one point, but I also had a Game Gear, and the charger to my Game Gear was like messed up, so I had to use the batteries. And the Game Gear took like 6 AA batteries and worked for like fucking 3 hours, and then it
Oh
died.
my god.
And I remember it was like Sonic, something. The Chaos Emeralds were a thing. I don't know if it was Sonic and Knuckles, but it was a Game Gear game. And I think I have like some hate developed for Sonic just because the Game Gear battery life was so bad. I think honestly, because the Game Gear, like if you have ever played a Game Gear, when you played a Game Gear, the graphics were amazing and the screen was awesome at the time, but it ate batteries like a fucking monster. So it kind of like that's your balance. Like, why is the Game Boy better than the Game Gear? Because the Game Gear batteries last for 3 fucking hours, and then you need 6 more AA batteries. So it literally just loses on that alone. To be honest with you. Because
I never even heard of the Game Gear.
Oh,
Nope.
the Game Gear. It's like it looks like take like a Sega controller kind of, and then take the sides of the Sega controller and make those like Switch Joy-Cons, and then attach a screen in the middle, and you got a Game Gear.
So it sounds like one of those like handheld like consoles that you get off of like Wish or something like that from China.
Kind of, except it was by Sega in the 90s.
Oh, it was the Sega system.
Yeah, this was.
Oh, okay.
A Game Gear. Yeah, this was not like a newer thing. This is old. This is back.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, I guess I didn't have that problem. As I said, I played them all on the Genesis. Good old consoles.
Yeah. So last gaming topic we had this week was a GoldenEye remake was officially announced.
I don't know if it was officially announced.
Oh.
Was it?
I think they found like
what's the news?
achievements on Xbox.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
achievement.
Yeah,
And that's what
Okay.
they're suspecting, and a formal announcement's going to be coming soon.
right.
Yeah, GoldenEye's. I mean, GoldenEye's probably not fun to play today. So are they like updating? You'd have more fun going to play like some split screen Halo than you would playing GoldenEye. GoldenEye's controls are N64 controls. That's not going to work.
How many frames like is GoldenEye?
20? I don't know.
It's literally a moving picture, right?
I'm not saying GoldenEye wasn't a load of fun in 1998. But like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what they're doing with GoldenEye now, but I cannot imagine having fun playing GoldenEye now. Like, not for more than 20 minutes.
Maybe they're not worried about it. Maybe they're selling on nostalgia alone. And I think
Yeah.
they're looking to make a quick turnaround. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
It's gonna work because GoldenEye's gonna come out, and I'm gonna be so mad because people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, GoldenEye's out," and I'm gonna want to trash it. So I'm gonna need to go play it for myself to say, "Hey, it's not fun to play an N64 first-person shooter in 2022." So
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll see.
it's not that I dislike I'm not saying I dislike GoldenEye or like GoldenEye in 1990 whenever it came out. Or like
1997.
1997, but I just can't imagine trying to play those controls.
Well, wasn't GoldenEye one of the most popular and highly like touted games back then?
Sure, but that was
Yeah.
before like
Right, before all the
all
upgrades.
right, if GoldenEye comes out, we need to play some like split screen 4-player GoldenEye. Oh my god, I need to drink a bunch of beers before I play too.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll be on the lookout for GoldenEye.
Are you guys excited for GoldenEye?
I mean,
I've only ever
no,
played it
but
once. So.
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, I think I played all of like 2 or 3 times at a buddy's house multiplayer, but
I'm gonna hold out hope and be interested that they do something fun with it. Or like it's Microsoft, like it's free on Game Pass. Then I'll be excited. I just get it
Who-
on Game Pass.
Who owns it or who developed it?
Was it Rare? Who developed GoldenEye?
We'll take a.
I
quick
think you're right. I
look.
think it was Rare.
I thought it was Rare's who's in my head.
Yeah, according to Google, it looks like
Published
Rare.
by Nintendo, developed by Rare. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be Microsoft then. If I don't know if Nintendo owns any of the rights to the game though, because Microsoft owns all of what Rare was, but in terms of IP, I don't know. And publishing rights, I don't know how that works. So, yeah. Anyways, GoldenEye. So our group media experience for the week: Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark from 1981. To give a description of the movie, the year is 1936. An archaeology professor named Indiana Jones is venturing in the jungles of South America searching for a golden statue. Unfortunately, he sets off a deadly trap but miraculously escapes. Then, Jones hears from a museum curator named Marcus Brody that a biblical artifact called the Ark of the Covenant, which can hold the key to human existence. Jones has to venture to vast places such as Nepal and Egypt to find this artifact. However, he will have to fight his enemy, Rene Belloc, and a band of Nazis in order to reach it. So, what do you guys think about Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Oh, I can get us started here. I think it's a okay movie after viewing it in today's current day and age. I guess I had seen it a couple times prior. I think probably 10 or 15 years ago, and it definitely I thought it was interesting. I knew what was going to happen, obviously, but I do have some issues, especially some parts were hard to hear.
What do you mean hard?
I just couldn't understand what was going on, and I don't know if I just had bad ears or
yeah.
I had subtitles on, but Paramount Plus's subtitles for that movie were like all in black, so like you couldn't, and they were like tiny, so I couldn't read it. And then also some parts of it I thought were a little dark. I was watching it in a dark room, and then some of the things I can't see because I don't know, like the camera angle was off, or I don't know, it was just very dark. So, I definitely think it's a movie with cultural significance.
Mhm.
You know, everybody knows Indiana Jones running away from the boulder, the old trope of going into a temple with all the different traps and escaping, using the bag of sand to weigh it just right enough to get the idol off of the pillar, that sort of thing. So, and then obviously you throw in the Nazis, which all Americans hate Nazis. So, you'll make some money.
I think the idea is everyone hates Nazis.
I mean, they did tie it in nicely because Hitler did historically go try and find artifacts and art pieces and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I think I'd probably rate it a C. I think it's a solid C.
Okay.
I think it's one of the best Indiana Jones movies just due to its being the first one, and the plot pretty predictable.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part is when he shoots the swordsman.
Yeah, that was on my list of
Um,
things. That was a great scene where the guy like does a whole sword dance and then he just pulls his gun out and shoots him. That's a good one.
Yeah. I believe, and this is, I think, something that I've seen, and I don't know if it was actually confirmed, but apparently they were shooting that scene, and Harrison Ford, who plays Indiana Jones, was just tired or something like that, and he didn't really want
So they
to
just
fight him, so he just shot him, and they rolled with it, I guess.
That's pretty good.
I was reading up on that, and what he was tired, but it was because he had dysentery at the time.
Oh, okay. That's important context.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I always thought that scene was pretty funny because, like you said, he does all his crazy sword work, and then he just like, oh, I'm over it, and just shoots him dead. So
Yeah.
um, one last thing, I did think it was kind of weird, and I guess this is a spoiler, but I'm blanking on the woman's name, with the dark hair.
Yeah, I know you're talking the main.
Marion. Are you talking about Marion?
Yeah. When she dies in the explosion, I just didn't think the next scene really like I don't know, from one scene to the next scene it was like really weird. It was just she was dead and then he was just there drinking, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I was like, it doesn't seem like he's actually that sad for some reason, or they kind of moved past it really fast, or I don't know. It was,
the movie seems to jump around a lot really quickly.
Yeah.
Like when it cuts to a different thing, it's like, okay, now we're doing this. And for me, like so from chat, Grab a Mango says, in its time though it was a banger. Yeah, I agree that in its time it was probably great, but watching it now it's hard to overlook some of the stuff. Like it feels like a never-ending chase scene some of the time, and my god, the mixing on the music, holy shit, the music is so in your face, and the music really feels like it gets in the way like a lot. Like I feel like that music is just bashing me in the face, and that could be, that's probably a remnant of the year it came out, what, 1981. So but man, that music doesn't work for me. And also it sounds a lot like Star Wars. Holy shit. I know it's the same guy, John Williams. It's the same
Yeah,
guy.
they're the same composer.
Wow, does it sound a lot like Star Wars? I was like, holy shit, you took the first part of the Star Wars thing and then you changed the ending, and now you got Indiana Jones.
Yep. That I was gonna say that was gonna be my last note. Was I would be listening to the music and be like, am I watching Indiana Jones?
Right. And it's Lucasfilm and everything, so I get it.
Right.
Man,
Harrison Ford, yeah.
too much like Star Wars for my liking.
Yeah.
So the things you described where you talked about, like, you know, the tomb he was in the beginning, like that was really cool, and that was all within the first 5 minutes of the movie where we got all the Indiana Jones tropes. And like, you know, the tomb traps are cool, and then he figures everything out, but sometimes he messes up, and that just leads to a great escape, a great exciting
Right.
escape. And it's always crazy escape scenes where he barely makes it out of everything, only to lead him to another situation where he has to make another great escape. And then he talks to some scholars about the Ark of the Covenant, and then he makes another escape. Is he stealing the artifacts in that first one? Like, is he just stealing that artifact? Whose artifact was that? Is he just stealing that from the people of the country? I don't know. Does that play today? Can you do that? I don't think you can do that anymore.
Not really. I think there's been there's definitely been a push in modern archaeology, I believe, to more preserve historical sites and kind of like keep like native artifacts and, like, you know, native places, because the whole thing is like, generally speaking, they kind of want to preserve the site as much as possible, so that way when, you know, if technology advances,
well, Indiana
you know,
Jones destroyed the site and stole the artifact, so are we canceling Indiana Jones?
I don't think that would be possible. With Indiana Jones's rabid fan base, like, no.
Does he have a rabid fan base? Is that
it seems like it. I mean, I feel like Indiana, like particularly the first movie, the one we're discussing right now, it's like I almost kind of wondered, like, how would this be kind of perceived, because it's like I don't know if that one's really, is this even like are like Indiana Jones fans ready for this movie to be like deeply criticized? I don't know.
Well, deal with it.
I think it's the kind of common back then, right, for to be all about the museum. I mean, they talked about it a couple times that they're trying to get the artifact for the museum, for the museum, for the museum, right? So I think, from my understanding of the times, and I even think today, like, you know, there's lots of museums like in England and around the U.S. that that do similar things. You know, whether that would fly today, I don't think so. I think you're right. Like Kudrow was saying, you're trying to preserve. You find something, you either give it to the people that own the land or are indigenous to the land, or you get permission to take it, or, you know, stuff like that. So I think it's a lot less finders keepers, losers weepers. But
Yeah.
Yeah, and even like there have even been some conversations around like, you know, native artifacts that were taken that are currently in museums about giving them back to where they were
Right.
taken from. So,
yeah.
but yeah, there's no way any of that would fly today.
In the movie, I liked a lot of like the slower stealth scenes where he's like performing stealthy acts or like doing some sort of puzzle solving, but then it feels like there's these chase scenes following that drag on for a bit too long, and again the music just beating me in the face. It's like I want to like some of it, but then the chase scenes just really kill me, and it feels like it's never ending with the chase scenes. You know, how cool are whips though? Whips are sick. Like, what a cool idea to give the guy a whip. I'm a fan of that. I wish he used his whip more.
quick whip interjection.
Yeah.
I just moved to Dallas like 3 weeks ago. I was downtown. We were moving stuff in. There's just this guy walking down the street. He's got a whip. He's just letting the whip fly, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know that was normal in Dallas, but
Yeah,
I guess people walk around with their whips.
underrated Dark Souls weapon, whips. Yeah, you get 2 whips, who can stop you? Nobody. So for me, I have to give it a D plus. Like I can't. I get so graded on by the chase scenes and music, and maybe at the time, but watching it now, I don't think you need to watch Indiana Jones. I think you could watch the first 10 minutes to get the first scene where he's escaping that temple in South America. And then I think you could just watch somebody recap it on YouTube over 15 minutes. I don't think you need to see the rest of it. I don't think it's, maybe it has, if you're like really into the cinematic history, maybe. But overall, I can't say this is one you need to see. I could give you better old movies to watch, but not this one. I'm going to go D plus.
You know, when he gets shot and then he holds on to the whip while dragging underneath the truck.
Yeah.
That was mind blowing. This man got shot in the arm and then somehow he's still holding on to that truck, but he did it somehow.
Broke.
Best use of a whip since Castlevania. But and I mean, there are definitely some things for the movie that's a product of its time. I remember one of the things that stood out to me, like immediately when I started watching this movie, was the relationship between Indy and Marion. Because he's sitting here talking about like you know, took advantage of me as I was a child,
right?
And I'm just like, am I seriously about to spend the entire movie following a statutory rapist? Please don't tell me that's the case.
Right. I mean, but this is a thing in old movies. Like, remember we were talking about Top Gun earlier in the episode. There's a scene in Top Gun where Tom Cruise follows the female main character into the ladies' room. That happened.
Oh, yep,
just
you're right.
Right after. And I remember watching it. I was like, wait, what? Did he just walk into the ladies' room? This is fucked up.
But I had the same thought, but at least that lady was of age.
I see, because in her past she wasn't of age. Yeah, it's really undefined, right? They just say that and then they don't say anything else about it. We don't.
I feel like it's kind of I feel like it's implied at the very least that she was definitely like at the very least a teenager. I don't know, and then it's been 10 years since we've seen them. Since they saw each other. So I don't know how old she is in the movie itself, but it seems the implication being that she was a teenager at the time.
28.
28.
Right.
If we're not
Right.
canceling Indiana Jones, she has to be 28.
I think it strongly implies that he took advantage of their relationship and the fact that she was very attracted to him, and he was, probably wasn't very gentlemanly about it.
Speaking of being attractive, one of the best things about this movie is Harrison Ford's great voice. Now, I don't know how you guys felt, but a lot of the dialogue scenes, it did not feel like there was any depth to the scene at all. It just felt like people were talking on a flat recording. But Harrison Ford has a really good voice, I think. It made me want to watch Blade Runner. I'm like, oh, sick, Harrison Ford. It kind of made me want to see some Blade Runner just to have Harrison Ford talking. But yeah, still a D+.
I'll about to say one of the characters that Harrison Ford character is Indy, like he was great, but the other guy I think I'd highlight too is I forget his name, the digger dude who was helping him out.
No, I 100% agree. He was one of the better actors in the movie. His acting, I thought he was good. I don't know his name, but I
forget his name.
Exactly who you're talking about. Also, the scene where they're digging up there, what in the hell? I guess it's just the quality of effects at the time, where there's like the storm cloud above that looks kind of shit.
Yeah.
And how did nobody see them up there for all that time?
They just assumed that they were with everybody else, maybe? I don't know.
There's some weird shit that happens when he's like in Egypt and like digging stuff up, and then he's got a whole digging crew, but none of the Nazis saw him, and he's like right next to them. That was a little weird. I got a little lost, but
I was a little weirded out when he's sitting in that cafe. There's Bellic is smoking hookah, and he sits down with him, and then all of a sudden they all pull guns on him, and then all these kids run in, and I'm like, these kids are about to sacrifice their lives for Indiana Jones. But then I walk through it in my brain, I'm like, oh, it's probably like the native people aren't gonna shoot their own kids essentially, so they know that, so it was kind of like we're not going to shoot these kids, right?
Yeah. Then when they leave there later on, when he goes out, they're all standing in a
right. They're all just standing back there.
They're all cheering for him while he leaves on the chase scene next. I feel like I don't know. Kudrow, what's your where do you stand on this movie?
Where do I mean, I for one, I think the one thing I'm hearing from you two a lot about the music, it's I have to disagree. I like the music. I think it's one of the more memorable things about Indiana Jones. So maybe I don't necessarily mind if it's, playing loudly.
I agree with that because of the Indiana themes, or the Indiana Jones theme song is very catchy, and it plays a lot.
It's not so much that I don't like the music itself. It's I don't like the way it's mixed in. I feel like it just comes in way too harshly and loudly into a lot of scenarios that I think it's too harsh and too loud, and maybe overused in some ways. But no, I don't. I like the theme song itself, just as I like that stuff, and I like the score itself. I just don't like. There's 3 or 4 of them that sound just like Star Wars songs. I don't like that. That annoys me. I'm like, is this fucking Star Wars? And it's not. But I just feel like it comes in too harsh and loud, and it's almost, it's like, oh, the music's coming in, this means he's gonna win this fight. Oh wait, no, the music. Then the scenes where the music starts and stops because he doesn't win the fight. There's one where he goes to fight and the music starts, and then I believe he loses. The music kind of trails off. Then it goes on for a little bit, and he wins the fight again. Then the music starts up, and then he's off onto his next escape scene because that's what he does.
I guess I guess the movie for me wasn't as big a factor. I think the thing that I found the most interesting was the plot itself.
Okay.
Because one of the criticisms I remember listening to, particularly after the episode of The Big Bang Theory came out that really discussed this in depth, was Indiana Jones's actions don't really have any overall impact on the plot, whether or not he was there or not. It was ultimately a foregone conclusion for what was going to happen. All the Nazis were going to die the minute they opened the Ark.
I never thought of that, but that's fucking true.
So it's the ultimate. It's almost like the ultimate version of the Shaggy Dog story.
Yeah.
It's this is all meaningless.
Huh. I never thought.
Which I can't tell if I love the movie more for that or if I hate it for that. I'm kind of on the fence there.
Well, could it be more of, for the times, the action and sequences and stuff like that were the main draw, drew the audience in more than the overall plot line?
Mhm.
I don't know if that's true or not, but
Yeah.
I guess then that tie up in the end, or tie out throughout the entire film, wouldn't really matter as much if the main focus is, like Colton has said, him escaping multiple times over the entire movie. Just to, in the end, like you said, it didn't even really matter that he was there. So I don't know if that plays a part, but
yeah, I think as far as like the exploration of the stuff go, like exploring the old tombs, the I mean, Nazis are definitely a convenient villain because you can really do whatever you want to them and no one's gonna care. But yeah, and the action scenes overall, like I don't know. I feel like I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this movie right now, which I kind of have to agree with Quinn's rating. I think a C is about where I'd put it right now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair place to put it.
now you're a hater.
I just felt a little bit on the love hate. I felt a bit on the hate side.
I think it's understandable. And viewing it in today's world, for sure. But
yeah, so
I think
are we? Oh, Kudrow. What? Yeah, C. So we got 2 C's from Kudrow and Quinn, and a D+ from me. So next week we are going to rip apart the Temple of Doom. If you want to watch along with us, we are going to be watching Temple of Doom before next Thursday's cast, and we will be discussing in depth the Temple of Doom. We're also going to start playing Hollow Knight as a group media experience, and I think 3 weeks from now, 3 weeks, the 30th of June, we're going to do an in-depth discussion of Hollow Knight. And that's all we got for this week. So subscribe wherever you get your podcast. You can email comments or questions to srankmediaclub@gmail.com. Thanks for coming to hang out with us on the live stream here. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
see you guys.